I remember, like it was yesterday, back in 2015 when Sepp Blatter was removed as FIFA president. Oh joy, his horrible reign is finally over. Now someone better can take over. Oh, how naive I was. Some of you may not remember, or just don't know, about how insane Sepp Blatter's reign was. To start, there were the really weird comments that he made. Like when he said John Terry's affair with a teammate's partner would be celebrated by countries like France and Spain. Or when he solved by saying the players should just settle things with a handshake. He even once claimed that he was the godfather of women's football, when just 9 years ago he suggested that to make women's football more popular, they should wear shorter shorts. This guy was president for like over a decade and more, by the way. And it's not a FIFA presidency without corruption. And this guy was an Olympian at it. Allegations of bribery during the 1998 FIFA elections. Allegations of corruption that led to South Africa winning the 2010 World Cup bid. And of course, the corruption behind handing Russia and Qatar the last 2 World Cups, which Sepp even admitted himself was corrupt years later. This reign was so disgraceful and so batshit insane that FIFA actually made a movie about itself, with Sepp Blatter being the main character, called United Passions. And I shit you not, in one of the scenes, they accidentally self-report themselves.
I'm not responsible for what might have happened prior to my presidency, which you choose to call embezzlement.
You're the Secretary General, for God's sakes. Either you knew, which makes you just as guilty, or you didn't, which makes you a bloody fool.
Also, I made a video reviewing this whole movie a few years ago. I still really like it, and I think you guys would enjoy it too, so give it a watch. However, as we mentioned, in 2015, Sepp was finally banned when all of this came out to the public in one giant bombshell. FIFA then organized elections for the next presidents of the organization, and the winner of the elections was Gianni Infantino, a member of the FIFA Reforms Committee. We will restore the image of FIFA, and everyone in the world will applaud us and all of you for what we do in FIFA in the future, he said after his election victory in 2016. Quickly, the reforms commenced. Infantino passed a resolution granting the FIFA Council, its board, the power to appoint and dismiss members of the independent committees. Basically, they weakened the ethics committee and limited its powers. Wait, I thought we were supposed to be reforming here. Yeah, and it didn't take long for Infantino to use these new powers of his. In 2017, Gianni wanted to have head of the 2018 World Cup Organizing Committee, Vitaly Mutko, on the FIFA Council. However, Mutko was accused of being heavily involved in the 2015 Russian doping scandal, so based on FIFA's code of ethics, he was not eligible. So as a result, Miguel Maduro, chairman of the governance committee, banned him. However, during the process, he was constantly challenged by FIFA's leadership because, allegedly, Gianni Infantino was worried his presidency would be in jeopardy if Mutko was banned. Either way, Mutko's ban stood, but then Miguel Maduro was suspiciously fired not too soon after. By the way, if you wanted to know, the guy behind the investigation for the 2015 Russian doping scandal was a man by the name of Dick Pound. In the same year though, Infantino removed Cornel Borbeli and Hans-Joachim Eckert, who were both working for FIFA as investigators into corruption. Both men, who worked to ban multiple football officials in the past, claimed that Infantino did this in order to put an end to any reform attempts within the organization. Other examples of blatant interference include Gianni backing a candidate in the 2021 CAF elections, and this guy ended up winning because of the FIFA president's influence. Which is kind of ironic because Gianni has gone and banned multiple federations for political intervention. Unfortunately, not all evil is this transparent like Gianni Infantino. You ever had problems with spam in your emails, in your text messages? But how did they even get our information in the first place? Well, there's a whole market that we don't know about revolving around your personal information. All your info gets collected and sold on these giant lists, and while you're able to, it's really hard and tedious to get off of them. Thankfully, this task becomes almost as easy as beating Southampton this season thanks to Unfunny. Unfunny reaches out to data brokers on your behalf, requests your personal information be removed, and handles any objections from their side. And what Unfunny is doing is only getting more important because the luring tactics of these spam messages are only getting harder to recognize. Lately, I've seen scams disguise themselves as YouTube, telling me that there's something wrong with my channel. And one that almost got me was this US Postal Service scam that's been going around that tells you your package has been intercepted. Unfunny though makes sure you aren't a guinea pig to these tactics by by making sure your stuff stays off the shelves by conducting repeated removals, and this is all automated so you can just sit back and let them do all the work. And right now, you can save 60% off their annual plan. All you gotta do is click the link displayed here and use code MACWELL, and this is risk-free with Unfunny's 30-day money-back guarantee. So take back control of your personal information and sign up for Unfunny today. FIFA often claims that Gianni Infantino has done a lot for women's football. Well, no shit. The bar was in hell before. Prior to the start of the Women's World Cup in 2023, Gianni said we should show the same respect to the women's game as the men's. And then he left not even a week into the tournament. Then in the final, he said in regards to equal pay that women must, quote, pick the right battles, and that they, quote, have the power to convince us men what we have to do. I mean, they have? Here's my thing with equal pay, because it's such a polarizing topic when it comes to the sport of football. I don't really think it's possible right now to have equal pay because the women's game just doesn't make as much as the men's. Now hold on one second, let me add on to that. But the reason why it's like this isn't because the women's game is just worse or the product is worse or something like that. It's because this game has been neglected for so long. Or in some cases in history, women were just banned from playing the sports. So going back to the product, yeah, it didn't look great because barely anyone bothered to invest or improve facilities. Quite honestly, only recently have we seen an explosion in women's football with more and more people watching, and the game will continue to grow at exponential rates now that it has a solid base. However, there is still a lot of neglect in the women's game, and Gianni is one of those people holding back the game. According to the UK's Office of Communications, FIFA accepted TV rights bids for the 2023 Women's World Cup in summer of 2022, but they didn't express any dissatisfaction about these deals until May 2023. 2 months before the tournament. But of course, our fellow feminist Infantino painted it a different way. Oh, how dare these broadcasters give our queen such insulting deals. Man, fuck you! But hey, to his credit, Infantino did help lead the charge to allow women in Iran to watch games at stadiums for the first time since the Islamic Revolution. And then just 3 years later, during the World Cup of 2022, when Iranian fans were denied entry for their messages supporting women's rights, not even a chirp. Speaking of World Cup 2022, Qatar. There was, to put it very simply, a lot of controversy surrounding the preparations of this tournament. The Guardian reported that over 6,500 migrant workers had died in the making of this tournament. However, that number has often been challenged, with many saying it is way more. Also in Qatar, being gay is illegal and can result in jail time and torture. So much for the World Game. In response, some of the countries that were in the World Cup decided to wear an armband to protest this. However, FIFA put an end to that and then introduced their own colorless, soulless armband. Again, this was all before the tournament even started. But have no fear, Qatari government. Infantino, seeing all this tension, knew it was time to sit down and address the world with his exceptional wisdom. Please, Your Excellency, influence us with words forged like silver.
Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay. Today I feel disabled. Today, I feel a migrant worker.
Today, I feel a migrant worker. Wow. What a way to address the 6,500 plus deaths. I feel like I've heard this from somewhere else. Oh yeah, I'm not perverted, I'm just Italian.
As a New Yorker, I am a Muslim. As a New Yorker, I am Jewish. As a New Yorker, I am black.
Man, I just can't wait to see what he says before the 2026 edition. Today, I feel school shooter victim. As you can tell, our glorious leader Gianni is just a tad tone deaf. In 2022, the Indonesian Federation posted a photo of Infantino playing footy with representatives of the Federation. 3 weeks after the crowd crush disaster that took the lives of 135 and injured over 500. For some reason, in 2023, Gianni decided to compare his 2016 election campaign to the Rwandan genocide. And if you thought it couldn't get any worse, he took a selfie near Pele's open casket. I didn't think it was possible to have less of a soul than a literal corpse, but here we are, I guess. Now, if Qatar didn't prove to you that Infantino will willingly leash himself to any authoritarian regime if it means he gets an extra buck, Saudi Arabia will. With 2026 hosted by North America and 2030 hosted by Spain, Portugal, and Morocco, this opened the door for a Saudi bid for 2034. However, there were still the South American countries who were allowed to make a bid. But no worries, Lord Ginger will just create a logistical nightmare for everyone and have the first 3 games of the 2030 World Cup played in Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay. A celebration of 100 years of the World Cup, with no other intentions whatsoever. Oh, what's this? Oh, what a coincidence. Now that CONMEBOL are part of World Cup 2030, that means the only 2 confederations that can bid for 2034 are AFC and Oceania. Wait, hold on. Say that again? Oceania? The ocean can't host the World Cup, silly. Next. And don't worry, Saudi Arabia, we won't let those other pesky Asians ruin your shine. I want unity, His Excellency commands. For a bidding process, this sure has a lot of interference going on. In the end, Saudi Arabia end up going uncontested and are now hosts of the 2034 World Cup. Very legit process, of course. Now, over the years, Gianni's had some incredible ideas and inventions. Once he thought of the World Cup happening every 2 years. Unfortunately, that dream was foolishly denied by the lazy footballers being paid trillions a week. So Gianni thought to himself during his next project, what if I just announce it officially without consulting the players? And so the new Club World Cup every 4 years was born. A 32-team tournament that takes place immediately after the end of the club season when everyone is exhausted. This world just does not deserve you, Gianni. And ignore the fact that no one is interested, including the broadcasters. They just don't understand you. You know what's crazy though? The original Club World Cup still exists. I shit you not, this is still happening every single year. The library of ideas that is Gianni Infantino has not stopped at all though. Just recently he announced that there would be a halftime show for the World Cup final in 2026. Alright, if I'm being completely honest here, I don't really mind it in this case. Like, yeah, Champions League final, you already got fans that are singing on both sides of the stadium. You don't need that. International football, though, especially for like a World Cup final, I don't know. I don't think there's that same collective support like clubs. So yeah, whatever. Let Coldplay perform in the big 2026. But remember when our masterful Gianni came up with the brilliant idea of expanding the World Cup to 48 teams? Well, just a few days ago, Infantino said he wanted the 2030 edition to have 64 teams. Alright, I can't do this shit anymore. 64 teams! Fucking what?! Is there any good bald people in this world? Any? I cannot fucking stand this constant need to expand every single tournament, especially the World Cup of all tournaments. This is supposed to be the most prestigious tournament in the entire world. It's not always the best 32 teams, but it means the goddamn world to be one of those 30 teams that gets to compete for glory in a tournament that only happens every 4 fucking years. Like, was 7.5 billion in revenue in 2022 not enough? What are you even using this money for? Because I can sure as hell tell you it ain't a fucking hair transplant. We will restore the image of FIFA and everyone in the world will applaud us and all of you for what we do in FIFA in the future. Fuck you! I am honestly impressed by the consistency at which this game continues to be ruined by this power-obsessed greed freak. And unfortunately, even if he were to disappear off the planet right now, someone worse would pop in. So now we're just in this never-ending cycle. More authoritarian governments will be able to host this tournament, changes are inevitable, and every single one of them will make this sport more and more unrecognizable. I mean, hell, maybe in the near future, teams can qualify for the World Cup by paying Gianni in FIFA coin. Hello? Former President Barack Obama? Yes, I recently just found another Syrian children's hospital. The address is FIFA 20 Zurich, Switzerland. Originally, this was only going to be about the halftime show and the World Cup expansion stuff. But yeah, this is just what happens, I guess. But what do you guys think? Is Gianni Infantino actually, listen, right? If you think Gianni Infantino is doing good for this game, like I'm sorry, you're just flat out wrong. I don't know. Just leave stuff in the comments about how we could. But of course, a massive shout out to all our members, including Janos Barash, Lai Dice, Luke RBB, Araisan, Brazilian Fury, Jeremiah Owusu Ajimang, Django, Adazir Makalangkom, Alex Rod, Ulta, Miguel Munoz, Return Fire, Rory Burns, Sliderkid, Takaoka Fan, The Cypriot 35, Not Windows 95 Man, Kentra Agatra, Saint Terrence, Sylvia Citrus, Wise Orange, Rasper Enthusiast, Cocosaurus Rex, Samu, Cheesebait, Winder Gel, M4 Does Stuff, Finn Likes Rugby More, Davox, The Portugizer, TPSK25, Polar Protus, Von Fan, Lucien Von Kreuz, Gazega Speciakivics, Monotango Faye, A Ghostly Owl, Coney Wolves, Leakstab, Mud Tonight, Sketchy Card, KM89, Apollo, Congo Jazz 1, German Sayu 7, Thrilling ADT 13, Los Milos, The FedEx Dude, Freya, Vecino, Jamie Vardy's 10th Red Bull, Mad for Amadiallo, Adiel, Foffinuki, Nightwalker, Knapside, Money Cash Hose, Kev C, Dominic Griffin, Kylo Krebs, Mohammed Al Tanib, Nish, Patrick Barley, Rashford God 5, Raspberry Ale, and Unbroken Persona. If you'd like to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link down below and up in the annotations. You can follow my Twitter if you want, follow my Instagram if you like, follow my Twitch. I'm not going to be able to stream this week or next because I'll be in Japan. So also with the upload schedule, it might be a little bit less videos for the next like 2 weeks. But it's fine. I'll be back on it afterwards. But until then, I'll see you guys.